What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today I'm here to bring all of you the weekly anime review of JoJo. JoJo Day is here, and with it we have a start of a new arc. And this episode was definitely a different turn, and I like the glimpse of the villain of this arc that we got. And supposedly the name of the villain is Kira, because you see the name tag on the house. Now, before I even get into this, new villain that's been introduced in this episode, I just want to talk about the concept of this episode. So, this episode focuses on, the place stuck between the living and the dead. It's kind of like purgatory before a spirit passes on to the afterlife. And it was a completely different episode, I think, from any other episode of JoJo. And JoJo tends to do stuff like this. You usually see episodes that are just completely different or completely original compared to other episodes of the series before it. And I might be wrong here. Now, forgive me if I am wrong. Now, manga readers, anime onlys, just forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I got to kind of ask this. Now, I could have forgotten. I did stay up a little bit late last night, so I'm a little bit tired, so I could be forgetting things. But I think this is the first time in JoJo that we have actually seen a ghost. I guess you could say that maybe Iggy and that at the end of part 3, it looked like their ghosts were still there. But I think this is the first time in JoJo we've actually seen an interaction with a ghost that didn't have a stand. There was no stand ability or anything like that. It was just a ghost that was dead in purgatory, just, sitting between the living and the dead. And just, that's, what happened throughout majority of the episode. And so I'm kind of curious, was this our first glimpse at some form of spiritual section of JoJo, maybe, heaven or hell? I'm just very curious about that, because if so, since there is, spirits in this series, does this mean that there might be a possibility in the future of JoJo that maybe we could see the previous dead characters of the series, maybe even Dio, maybe, we get to see Joseph after he dies eventually of old age? I'm curious, could we ever see characters that are dead? I'm curious about that. That is something I'm really interested in, is if there is some form of, element of JoJo that has ghost and stuff, and not just stands, but ghost in general. I'm curious if we could see characters that are long dead maybe make a return, maybe for an episode or two. I'd like to see that. So I just gotta ask, JoJo fans, is this the only time we're probably gonna see, a ghost in the series? Or is this, a one-time thing? Is it a one-time thing, or is this something that's going to be, a reoccurring thing? Please let me know in the comments below. But anyways, the episode has it to where Koichi goes along with Rohan to kind of explore the entire city. And Rohan and Koichi, they discover that the map is completely off. There's this weird alley between these buildings that's not there on the map. And so they go exploring, and eventually it leads them into where they get lost in the middle of a purgatory, and they just can't escape without the ghost's help. And they come to find out the backstory of this ghost girl. Apparently she was murdered 15 years ago with her dog. She heard a drip 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 sound, and eventually when she got up to investigate, she saw her dog dead. But it couldn't have been possible, because supposedly her dog was underneath her bed. But when she came to realize that her dog was dead, apparently it was the murderer being fucking creepy, licking her hand, and then stabbed her and killed her. So this murderer for the past 15 years has been going around killing people, killing everyone and all that. And instantly, I just gotta say, probably the person at the end of the episode, the person that was introduced, Kira, I'm willing to bet he has something to do with the girl's death. I'm willing to bet he's probably the murderer, because we get to see, a girl's arm completely, severed off. So we know that girl is probably dead. So most likely, since majority of this episode focused on the build-up of some form of, person that's been murdering people in this town for 15 years, most likely the person at the end of the episode is that person that's been doing it. Now, does this person have a stand? I don't know. I'm willing to bet it does. It is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There is a possibility Kira does have a stand, but that's left to be speculated. We'll have to see where the series goes after this point. But however, seeing how we now kind of got a huge shift in focus of this arc, I like that. I like the direction this arc is taking, because we now found out that there's been a murderer that's been killing people for the past 15 years. We get some backstory to Rohan, which that was completely unexpected. I did not expect JoJo to take a turn like that with Rohan's character, because as we know, Rohan, he was a villain, but he's not a villain. That's kind of what we found out in previous episodes. I mean, he's morally gray. He could be someone that could be rather evil in some cases, but then rather good in others. And we come to see some backstory to him, some characterization that 15 years ago, he was in the house with the girl that died, but he forgot about it. And as we know, Heaven's Door, he can't use Heaven's Door on himself to look into his past, his memories, so he can't really confirm this or not, but he realizes most likely this is why she was being so friendly with him, and he's like, oh shit, when he tries to discover the truth, it leads him to some clues. So Rohan, he actually got development, like characterization in this, and I was like, yo, damn, this character has gotten some really interesting characterization. And, I mean, I'm glad to see Rohan actually having a huge role in this arc. And once again, I gotta point out, Koichi, once again, has a huge part of the series, a huge, I guess, role in this arc, I'm assuming. Because, I mean, look, he's with Rohan, they're trying to explore who's the murderer, who's been killing people for the past 15 years. And I just gotta point out, once again, you know, Josuke is not really the huge, big primary focus of Part 4 of JoJo. And I'm just so curious exactly the direction that Part 4 has been taking, because, you know, Koichi, he's the big focus of majority of so far what we've seen in Part 4. I wonder if Josuke is ever going to step into the spotlight and actually kind of maintain that role as the main character of the part. But that's enough for now. The episode overall was a very enjoyable episode. I liked the ending as well when it came to the villain. Can't wait to see more about this villain, Kira. And I do need to ask a quick question as well. Yes, I've been asking a lot of questions, but I have to ask another question. Did this villain that just popped up in JoJo, was this villain Kira made before Kira in, you know, Death Note? Because I'm curious, like, which Kira came first? Did Death Note Kira come first, or did this Kira come first? If anyone could confirm in the comments below, please do so. But you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.